Bud Williams just got the state rep on Ward 4. Like, or that particular
that
section.
sounds like the most shittiest job.
Yo, hey, you
I would not want that job, man.
Yeah, y'all are writing a lot. That's wrong. Listen, I work in the medical field. What was I wrong about? We sue. Oh, you're talking to Angela. Easy, more. Quick to sue. Litigations. I got you. Now I know the word. This is for the primaries only. Medicare does not pay full cost. $100 medical bill, private insurance pays $100. Medicare pays $65. Yeah, but do you know that if you're on Medicare, Plan A or Plan B, you can apply for Mass Health. Mass Health covers whatever it is. Or they take, if you get SSI or SSDI and you don't have Mass Health, they deduct $100 from you to pay your medical insurance. So even though you have Medicare A or Medicare B and you don't have Mass Health, they take $100 out of your Social Security or your SSDI to cover the medical costs to make sure that it's at full 100%. So that's what they do. So all you have to do is apply for Mass Health so you can get your full check and not get charged $100 because Mass Health is willing to pick up that amount that Medicare and Medicare doesn't pick up. So they do get still their 100%. That I do know. That example you gave about the ballots is only for primary. Well, that happened to me, then that's what I thought. But during the presidential election, I was only given one ballot, Democratic ballot. So that's the only ballot that they would have two ballots, and that was at the election. So if somebody violated my in Springfield, well, we need to train the people in the voting workers. They need to be educated to say you can have both. But I was only given one, and I asked, and they were like, no, you have to choose. And that was during the election. That wasn't primaries at all. Issues going on, brother. Yeah, an hour and 15 minutes it takes to travel without traffic to Boston. I can personally make it. Well, that's why my points is high. Because I can make it to Boston pretty quick. But make sure when you travel to Boston, make sure when you travel to Boston, anytime you see that Auburn sign, slow down. There's always a state trooper hiding right there, right in that Auburn line. I know, because he's always there. We should talk about that. Issues with the ballots, primaries or our elections. They are. Primaries are elections. People don't realize how important primaries are. Okay, you have the election, which is important because it decides the last two. But people don't realize that the primaries, only 2 people can make it past the primaries. So if you can't just say, oh, I'm not going to, if you don't go out to vote, and then you're like, oh my God, the person that I wanted didn't make it, and you thought that everybody was going to go on to November. Personally, I think they should just get rid of the primaries. I mean, why shouldn't everybody just have the same ample enough time to be able to argue? Do they cut it off because they feel that it just takes too much money from the state or the city for the election period or something like that, or it's just way too much? I'm not sure on why is it that we do have a primary and then we have an election. I personally think that because what's going to happen is that more people are going to become independents instead of party, because if before the election, before the primaries, if there's 3 Democrats running, 1 Republican, 1 independent, those 3 Democrats are the one fighting because only one party can go on to the election. So those parties have to fight each other. So you're already asking these 3 people to fight. The independent Republican has nothing really to do or really to fight during that time, because they're going to be moving on to November regardless, because if they don't have anybody else to fight. So only those 3, whoever part of those parties, will be fighting. You ask me, everybody should be able to go on. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that the reason why they have the primary is because it's too costly. You know, when Calvin, so make sure you check us out February 13th. Because Calvin's going to touch more on everything that's going to be happening in our Tri-City from Springfield, Holyoke, touching on everything like ballot questions versus jail, the school to jail pipeline. So we're going to be talking about all that going to affect our city. And, you know, we might not be able to control what's going on federally, but best believe that we can control what's happening in our state. So don't be confused and listening to all that news and listening to all that stuff and then follow short of what's going on in your local elections. Pay more attention to your local elections. Pay more attention to who your senator is, who's your U.S. senator, who's your rep. You know, pay more attention to who are those people, because that's what matters. I don't care how ghetto you are. I don't care if you hood. I don't care if you a gangster. It's gonna affect you or someone you love eventually. So I don't care how hood you think you are. Like, oh, this is boring. It ain't boring. It's facts. Bigger government will hinder you some way, somehow. The Women's March. Now, I heard some ignorant chick saying something, you know, the Women's March is worthless. Like, why are we out here? Like, what is the whole point of the Women's March? Now, sometimes, as leaders, Angela, and people who are watching, what makes us good leaders is that we have to fight for people like them. Like, the ignorant people don't realize by making these stupid statements and not realizing and not involving themselves in human rights or women's rights. Now, I know Ken, we touched on this. I'm not sure if Ken is still on, but we touched on this, and I know Ken is a firm believer in pro-life. I am pro-choice. More pro-life or more pro-choice? That's why I became independent, is because I'm what you call a happy medium. I try to find the argument in both sides. I'm not totally saying I'm completely Democrat or I'm completely liberal or I'm completely Republican or conservative or progressive. I am for whatever is right and sensible for all of us